4.
Welcome, everybody, to the Synapse Philosophy Group. I am your host, Dr. Haig John, and we are reading D.D. Palmer's 1910 book on page 691. We're going to do a little bit of skipping. After 691, we're going to go to 698, 699. Then we might go to 701, 700. Let's see how far we get with that, okay? So I'm going to start off 691. Number 4 adjuster contained the essence of the following, but I found that the class number, my personal instruction, a class under my personal instruction, unable to grasp what is contained. I was assured that it would have to spread out so all that the adjuster class could see the substratum upon which chiropractic was founded. To be sure, chiropractic may be practiced without the knowledge contained in the following, but why not know what your business is founded upon? Dee said you can survive, but why don't you get to know what you're really doing there, pork chop, right? Triad, innate, soul, body. Very cool. We were talking new beginnings. Remember talking about Dee was talking about something different. Soul was not included in innate. It was another body. Innate, intelligent life, body. Immaterial, vital, and material. The life directed by intelligence is the soul, the life of the body. The soul, in parentheses, the life, is the symphysis which unites spirit and body. Without the connecting link, the spiritual and the physical are separated and distinct from each other. Whoa. Okay. This is getting into real stuff. What do you guys think about that? We were talking about this at the Green Books Club, the Green Book night at New Beginnings. Exactly this part. Nobody has read this. I think that's powerful. Okay. Without the connecting link, the spiritual and the physical are separate and distinct from each other. Man is a part of creation. Innate is a part of the creator. Innate is the creator of man before as well as after birth. Mother innate builds before birth, the individualized, personified innate after birth. Okay, this came up as well. Now, I'm intimate with this because one of my mentors, Dr. Clarence Jensen, he was an upper cervical guy, Toggle. He was at Clearview with BJ, and he talked about he was hold on one second. So Dr. Clarence Jensen was Mormon. We were talking about this quite often because we were talking about when BJ thought innate took over. And BJ, he was talking about BJ would say when the baby was born, because it's no longer dependent on the innate of its mother, right? If that happens, if a mother perishes, she's pregnant, very likely baby will perish. And back in this day, it was more likely in that way, right? The surgery was different. So, but Dee saying innate really happens at the moment of conception is what I'm reading. We also talked about this at New Beginnings. What do you guys feel about that? Go ahead, Barry.
It sounds like to me from what I just heard is that when it's born, so the umbilical cord still attached to mom's innate is mother's innate. When it's born and that's cut, that's individualized. That's your identity then from then on. I'm not getting at creation, at conception, sorry.
He's not, you don't think he's saying that right now?
I'm not here. I'm from when it's born. So when it's out.
Innate is part of the creator. Innate is the creator of man before as well as after birth.
Because innate will continue
right
on.
So, but he doesn't say that. He says what he says here. What I as I read it. Let me look at it again as I'm saying this. The individualized personified innate after birth, that innate is present. And as he's talked about before, innate is evolving and learning. The mother innate is doing most of the work in utero. The innate of the child is present already and maybe learning, but is personified and takes control at birth.
Well,
That's
the
the way
next line
that's
says,
the way I'm reading it.
mother innate builds before birth, the individualized personified innate after birth. So maybe that makes sense. So I always thought it was, so are they both saying your own innate happens after you're away from your mother?
You're
Really after you
personifying
build
then. But as
before.
we talked about earlier, the child is influenced, the innate may be influenced in utero. The personified innate is already influenced in utero by things that are happening, but it becomes personified at that moment that it separates, that they're separated from one another.
I like that. Yeah, I guess we're knocking it out. So I did make a mistake. I did say it. I think BJ and Dee Dee are in agreement with this part. Are you all in agreement?
So I think it's a double whammy here, right? Because conception, mother's innate, fetus, but then also the born part, and it's that separation of physical. Well, when we're in utero, we're connected to mom. However, we also have our own internal intelligence. And then at birth, boom, there it's completely individualized. It's cut off. It's separate physically from mom, correct? So there's a double whammy going on here.
Aren't we also, to take it from a slightly different direction, aren't we, when we working with patients, working innate to innate? Isn't there an innate communication? So why shouldn't there be an innate to innate connection in utero that then is personified, as he says here, at birth?
Yeah.
I mean, we're having, even over distance, some level of innate connection with one another here while we're talking. But it's not a physical connection, but we still have there's some relation there. But here and so that's where I see it. But there's always an innate connection. I mean, if you become attuned to it, you become attuned to the universe. You become attuned to the trees and the animals around you. You have a connection in those ways.
Let me read the next part. Innate is part of the all wise. Innate, parentheses, spirit, is part of universal intelligence, individualized and personified. Innate desires to assist the chiropractor in making correct diagnosis. That's what you just said. And that's what we all been saying for years. Innate guides us. I got a dog ear this one. That's a good page right now.
I would say his son would say, makes a chiropractic analysis, not a diagnosis here.
Well, agnosis means I don't know, and die is too. So it's two people that don't know what they're doing. Well, anyway, assisted a diagnosis. The universal intelligence collectively or individualized desires to express itself in the best manner possible. It has been struggling for countless ages to improve upon itself, to express itself intellectually and physically, higher in the scales of evolution. Man's aspiration should be advanced to a superior level, to make himself better physically, mentally, and spiritually. This marvelous existence of many systems harmoniously associated and controlled by the I am in capitals, constitutes the duality of man. Let's talk about that real quick. The marvelous existence of many systems, harmoniously associated and controlled by the I am, constitutes the duality of man. So, what's the duality? Before we read it, okay? Because it's next. Because we read, remember that book Bob Pasquale had us reading was The Dweller in Two Planets. Do you remember that? I've got it right here on the shelf. But the dweller on two planets, the dichotomy of man, the duality of man. What do you guys think? Go ahead, you guys. Barry, you unmuted.
This is source and semi-source. Innate is always source. Semi-source is the physical body, the educated mind, which is learned from conception of Alan Lichter until today's date, Haig, John, Bob and Carol Crystal, and Barry Hobbs till today's date. So there's that educated intelligence, what we learn and acquire. However, innate always has it there. So that duality then is that educated mentality that we acquire.
What about you, Alan?
I had nothing at the moment.
The spirit was a living intelligence before it was united with the body. What? It was a living intelligence in heaven. I say that part. It will continue a living, intelligent entity after it is separated from it. So no matter what, that energy never disappears, never disintegrates, never, it's always that energy, right? That's what he's saying. This is the afterlife.
Innate is a part of, but apart from universal. And when it leaves you, it goes back to universal. It's like the river that flows, it gets to the ocean and goes, and it's afraid, but then it just becomes one.
This is quantum physics. Energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Or destroyed.
That's what we're talking about. This is where we were talking in quantum. Before, I'm writing that down. Before Schroeder and his cat. This is 1910. Quantum physics wasn't even an idea yet. Love it. I mean, how powerful is this?
How did you know?
Future copies of anatomies will contain a section on subluxation and the results thereof. We're still waiting on that.
Yeah, this is what I was saying last week, that there's good stuff here. This is the spiritual connection of chiropractic that is so I hate to be to keep riding that horse, but it's being lost by so many people in our profession.
It's being regained.
I know.
How about that?
I hope that it's being rediscovered.
Now, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Quantum. I'm writing this down. Since I ran out of Post-it notes, I got to throw a note in there for myself.
Bob,
At least
Bob's got his hand up. Let him go.
I've done that before. Okay. August. Go ahead, Bob.
So as a question, if somebody has a heart transplant, whose innate is in their chest anymore?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I remember even as a kid watching That's Incredible. Remember that with Fran Tarkenton? That's Incredible. Remember that show?
Yeah.
I remember they had a transplant of some organ. Unlike they were seeing this little girl and actually solved her murder case or whatever it might be, solved an important case that received her organ. I mean, it was just wild how that energy continues. And I've heard those stories through my lifetime, but I remember it so distinctly as a small kid hearing that on television. And what do you guys think? That's an interesting one.
Several innates are in there because over centuries, right? The human body has created that heart with those 4 chambers. And so several, Bob.
Okay.
Right? Because all this intelligence is before my identity. It's here afterwards. So if I have a new part called a heart replaced or in place in me, it's whatever identity my educated mind puts on it. However, the wisdom has always been there for centuries.
There's a bonding of the innate that was in the original person's heart and the innate in the body that it now occupies. Much like the mother and child in utero, there's some bonding that happens there that allows innate to communicate, the current innate in the living body to communicate with the tissue and the organ and whatever part of innate may remain, or in that, because you have to assume that somehow they kept that heart alive and functional, alive in some way, technically, to make it be able to work in a new body, allow it to continue to work in a new body. So it must be some innate intelligence there that was involved in maintaining it.
Well, that's
Transit.
where, they're in ways have to trick innate. And I have a liver transplant patient, and he's going through it right now, and all the drugs that they are actually put in that person to be able to handle that transplant, it's outrageous. And I think it's part of what might have destroyed the liver itself anyway. Now they're looking at really another transplant, after 7 years or something. But I pray for him. Everything's going to work out wonderfully. He's going to be healthy. But, the body's trying to reject another being's creation. You want to look at it in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Like putting the wrong size tire on your car. It could be $100,000 car, but if you got a tire that doesn't fit on the rim, you're not going anywhere, right? But yeah, I mean that's a toughie. It's amazing that they can do it. They have to do a lot of work for innate to keep it from throwing it away, right? You're out. Anyway, pray for him, everything for his quick recovery. All right. Now we're skipping over to
98, we said.
698.
698, middle of the page.
Yeah.
First paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, excuse me. The third paragraph that is not in quotes. Chiropractic is not one of the systems of the healing arts. This is important. It is not related to it in any shape, form, or manner. We do not heal by first, second, or third intentions, by adhesion, by scab, or by granulation. We are not healers. We are fixers, adjusters. So he's working on those terms, right? That's an important thing. Is he's still growing vocabulary, okay? In developing an adjusting system like I have multiple, coming up with a language is very, especially now, you don't want to use the same language somebody else used to describe really the same thing in many ways. But so we're fixers, adjusters. So fixers, comma. What do you guys think?
I think he's saying very clearly, don't take the responsibility for saying you're going to get somebody well. You're not there. You're not the healer. Innate is the healer. The healer is within. We remove the interference that allows the body to communicate and heal itself.
I'm writing my notes in the corner so I know what the reading is, because I love outlining this book, and I know Simon Senzen and his team and those guys are all doing this and pulling out DD's stuff, but man, leaving this for the ages and all the work that we've done on this, I'm putting this one in like in a glass, case in my book. All right.
The discussions we have, I got to say, are so thrilling. I mean, Bob, that last question was a winner about the heart. That's stuff that needs to be talked about, that the chiropractors should be talking about all the time.
Absolutely. That last comment about we're not part of the healing arts really has me, because DD talks about where health comes from, and it's being reconnected. So if health comes from being reconnected and we're adjusting that and we're fixing that, wouldn't we be part of the healing arts then? However, he just says right there, we're not part of the healing arts. And this is some of the challenges I have with some of the stuff that Reggie would say, this exact stuff here. However, DD has historically talked about what makes one man sick at a bench and the next man not, or a family member at a table. And yet I know they're not the same two words, but they're derivatives of the words healing art versus health. Do we have anything to do with health? To me, absolutely we do. So why wouldn't we be part of a healing art? And he says right here in black and white, we're not part of the healing arts. So this has got me.
Well, I think this is, labeling, because what he's saying is we are not taking credit for healing, where a lot of groups take credit for it. Oh, I healed you. And, he's saying you adjust the bone, get out of there. Your job is done, right? You can't do anything else to that body. It has to adapt on its own, right? I think that's where he's going. And yes, we're part of the a system now in reality. Before it wasn't as systematized as it is today. We have to be under some level of label, right? But I take and we all talk about this. We take no credit for someone getting better. I'll take credit for giving, the best adjustment and analysis that I possibly can and deliver it to you because I've worked very hard for that. But after that, it's really up to you. Part of what I talk about in my talks, that I haven't done this for a while, is that I don't know what's going to happen with you first. Maybe it's your liver's got to get better first, or your heart, or maybe you got a hot. I won't say that anyway, but you have to do something, and then your back pain might go away. I don't know, but if someone tells you they're going to fix your back pain, you might want to look somewhere else, right? Because that's something completely different. And there's no one can, I always say this, no one can fix you besides the vet. And I'd avoid that if I was you.
Oh, fiction.
That took you a minute.
I think that, I say to people, I fully expect you're going to feel better,
Right.
but your body's what's making that happen. I fully expect the same. I would expect the things to change, and other things may change too. You may see other things that change that are not related to that you didn't even know were going on.
We expect that to happen.
And I expect that. But what I'm doing is allowing it to happen, and your body is making it happen. Your body is the healer. It knows. It knows what to do. I said, do you when you cut yourself, do you think about healing the cut? No, it just heals. Innate may use secondary quality material and leave a scar, but it heals on its own. You don't do anything to it. It's not the Band-Aid. It's not the ointment you put on it to keep it clean. It's you.
That secondary scar tissue. How did you call it?
Yeah, secondary material. Yeah, that doesn't
I
use
like
the
that.
patch is not as good as the original, but it's good. It does the job.
We're in amazing earth suits. I mean, we are in amazing earth suits. And, I call it a meat bag in reality that we live in, this gorgeous meat bag. And it takes us through things. It's not always easy to maintain, chiropractic. I don't want to relate this necessarily to mechanics because Didi doesn't like that. But, if you're going to run like a Ferrari, you have to have a real Ferrari mechanic. The guy that's only worked on golf carts is not the guy you really want to use. That's what I say. And I say that. So, ultimately, we're here to serve the people. We're here. This is Dee Palmer to help relieve the fetters of the human existence of the people. And I think that's very, very important. We got to look into the word fetters. We've talked about it ad nauseum in the 1914. And, everybody who listens to this, go listen to that playlist of 1914. We are just to give you a little side note, we are about to start reloading these up to Spotify. We have a couple of hundred, maybe 150 or so on Spotify. And I tell you, I've slacked of getting is not easy. We're at 400, 380 something episodes. So we haven't gotten them all up yet, but we're getting them. And I just made a plan. We do a few a day. We can get them on there. And because I was at New Beginnings and someone said, of course, she's probably under 30 and said, "Oh, you're not on Spotify?" I'm like, I'm trying. How about some help? How about some help? That's what I really need, some help.
Hey, recruit that 30-year-old to help you.
But I realize you can't guilt kids into things like in my day. My mother was like a ninja with guilt. She can guilt you from another room at somebody else's house. You know what I mean?
Innate to innate. It was an innate connection.
I don't care about spankings anymore. Like parents don't know how to guilt their children well enough anymore.
This reminds me of, I talk about in the office, it's all about, we're going to make you function better. And when you function better, you're boundless to feel better. This is one of those things, speaking of today's technology, is that if they do the search engine now with the AI chats, and Dee Dee writes here on this page, we're not part of the healing arts. This is one of those things that when they search, they'll say, Dee Dee Palmer said we're not part of the healing arts. And you really have to put this in context. Like you were saying, like we're all saying, we're not part of the healing process. This came across a couple of weeks ago too, when people were looking up posterior arch of the atlas. Well, they didn't use posterior arch of the atlas then. They used posterior ring. And then all of a sudden, when these young people see that, they're like, oh, we got to add that to the search. So in this group and in this conversation, this podcast, it always helps me put in a context. And then we actually need context within context of this, because like we're discussing here, he says this clearly. However, it's meant in this context that we're not the healers, the intelligences.
And that's the first time I think that was really distinguished, where he's really talking about us being separate and distinct, right? We are honoring the glory of God creating you as innate intelligence through the material, using the soul as the binder. Whammo. All right. Alan?
Yeah.
I'm going to continue. Okay.
Do you want to?
Disease is a departure from the state of health. Physical pertains to the body of contradiction to the mental. There are those who believe that all diseases originate in the mind by wrong thinking. This chiropractic naturopathic physician believes that disease has a cause in the body, that the cause of disease is physical, not mental. Whereas Dad Chiro says, this is all in bold, says that causes are traumatic, toxic, or autosuggestive. Toxins, traumas, and what?
Autosuggestion
Thoughts. So here it is. He's saying right here, this has come up multiple times, and we've seen it in the past couple of chapters as well. The doctor said, okay, so he analyzes the body's causes of disease and not those of traumatic, toxic, or autosuggestive. Nerve is never used as an adjective. It is always employed as a noun or verb. The author would have used the adjective nervous. And the forepart of the above sentence should have read, the nervous system is the medium. There, end quote, as there is only one nervous system, which for convenience is divided into cranial, cerebrospinal, and sympathetic. The word innate is used several times in the leaflet and is misspelled each time. I don't know whether you spell it. Anyway, so of course he's
in the pamphlet he's referring to is misspelled as INATE and mental impulses as innate INATE mental impulses, and it's and innate in his term is INNATE.
So I'm going to keep reading. The impulses of innate are transmitted over the sympathetic ganglionic nerve system. The nerves of organic life, which the mental impulses are of the mind, under the control of the educated, they go to the somatic portion of the body over the anterior and posterior branches of the spinal nerves. It will be seen that the impulses of innate and those of educated, parentheses mind, have different origins, are each transmitted over their special nerves. The splanchnopleural,
splanchnopleural.
Yeah, splanchnopleural, to the inner or visceral portion Wait, oh, it of the inner or visceral portion. And wait, I read that again. It will be different portions of the body over entirely different divisions of nerves. The one voluntary, the other involuntary. The former devoted to the animal life, the latter to organic, ought not to be enthroned into the indiscriminate lot as innate mental impulses. Okay, that was a lot. And I think that's again going back to BJ because he doesn't like the term mental impulse. He used the term vital forces. So I think that's another one. It is so much more than an innate mental impulse. Ought not to be thrown into an intermediate lot like mental impulse. He said that's not powerful enough. Talking about how powerful the body is. Currents of motive power. Impulses do not flow with current. They are transmitted by nerve vibration. And we're saying that to be true now. They're seeing that in new modern science, which the science of chiropractic also has to be the science that we know of things happening now from research. That's very important. And he's saying it's vibration and tone. And I think that's absolutely amazing because I think that's where we're really getting to now. All right. The power to act, to perform a voluntary and involuntary function is not transmitted, it is inherent in the organism as a whole or in an individual organ. In biology, motivation is the quivering motion, nerve vibration, which carries impulses of thoughts. Motives and power are quite different entities. Energy is inherent in the organism or individualized in the organ. It is not produced in some portion of the body, then distributed from special center. I think that's pretty, we got somebody coming in. I think that's actually pretty important. Hey, how's it going? Glad you could join us. I'm just going to read this last sentence again, guys, since we have somebody new that just jumped in. Energy is inherent in the organism or individually in the organ. It is not produced in some portion of the body, then distributed in the center. And I think that's what, I think that's an important thing. It is throughout the system. And they show, impulses, deriving from nerve root and not necessarily having to come from brain. The spinal cord being a portion of the brain itself, and impulses being directed through a nerve root from spinal cord itself. So I think that's what he's really talking about as well. What do you guys feel? All right. We're kind of coming to an end portion right now. And I just want to say I'm absolutely excited. But we're at almost 700 pages on that book, and we have knocked it out. It's almost taken us about 5 years to do it. But skipping around to other books, I think the first time we worked on this was in 2022, as a matter of fact. So we keep going back and forth, but I think we're trucking right along, get a lot of really good content out of it right now. So I don't plan on stopping. After this, I'm suggesting we go to the 1906 book. That's another one I'm very, very interested in. Very interested, because we're separating, or we have groups like Simon sends on, separating the writings of BJ and Didi, because BJ wrote it first. Didi wrote it first. BJ wrote some and published it. So we're gonna see. I'm really excited to see what's going on with that. We have a date for innate newborn adjusting and subluxation analysis at Life University. August 8th and 9th. The 8th is going to be a philosophy night. The 9th is going to be hands-on. This is going to be more of level 2. Rob, you were really at level 1. Now we're going to do level 2 and just touch on a little bit of level 1. So this is going to be hands-on, and we're going to try and invite the public. Last time we did this, we had a whole lot of families and parents and people with children coming to this. So August 8th and 9th, and we're looking for dates right now for Life West. So we're working on that. That hasn't come to fruition yet, but it's almost there. We're just working on it with the teams over at Life West. So that's pretty exciting. And we had an awesome weekend at New Beginnings. I was there with Carol and Bob and a whole bunch of other people, and we had a blast. So what do you guys think of that?
Yeah.
We knocked it out of the park. I tell you, I came home a different human being. I really did, you know. So I made it all the way on public transportation
Oh, you did.
from JFK, which is the biggest pain in the neck of all to get to New Jersey, but it wasn't that bad. So, you know, there are no excuses. You don't need a vehicle. You don't need a car. You don't need an Uber. I'd like to have a helicopter. If that was a choice, you know, come on. Who doesn't want a helicopter, you know? One day. We'll call it Toggle. All right? That's what I'm naming my helicopter. All right, you guys, I now declared it in the universe.
You're gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it. I gotta learn how to fly it first, though. Cyclic in the collective, that's all I know. All right, I love you guys.
Yeah,
Peter Kevorkian's the president of Life West now, you know.
That's right.
that's it.
Yep. I was blessed to adjust him. I feel absolutely honored. I took pictures, so someone took pictures. I just sent them to Patty today, as a matter of fact. But I said, hey, you know, I'm adjusting the president of Life West. I got to get a picture of this. He agreed. Okay, so I got permission. But
And you
yeah,
adjusted
I
me.
was absolutely honored. Go ahead, Carol.
And you adjusted me.
And I adjusted Carol. I feel absolutely honored.
That's right. It was a good
And
adjustment.
so, you know, it was a blessing. It was an amazing one. I belted it out. I might post it on YouTube. I got to edit a few F-bombs out of there, but you know, I pulled out my New Yorker for my New Jersey brothers and sisters.
So, Haig, who was your surprise speaker that you were not anticipating that since then you've been like, wow? Who was your surprise speaker? And then I'm going to ask the same question to Bob and Carol.
Well, you know, the woman that really touched my heart, she closed out the evening and she talked about her, you know, the colon. She was really funny in one moment, and then she had me literally crying the next. And really, I just felt so, you know, I felt so much love, connection to her. Then I also thought about, hey, we've lost a lot of brothers and sisters, young in chiropractic and everywhere, but young. And I thought about my family. It took me to my family of like, oh, I got to make sure I spend enough time home. I've got to make sure we do this. I'm bringing my family. I'm bringing my family to Life West. They usually come to Georgia, but it's cheerleading tryout, I found out. So, you know, I won't be trying out for the cheerleading squad, but my daughter will be. So we'll do it at that same time at Life University. But ultimately, you know, that was she really touched my heart big time, man. And I was emotional through the whole thing. Do you guys remember her name? Could you please remind it so we can say it out loud? Was it
Carol
Lauren?
Iazi.
No,
Say
no.
it again.
I thought it was Nicole Balmer.
It was Carol Iazi.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
She's from Cranford.
What about you guys?
I liked Liza.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember what she talked about, but I remember being very moved by what she said.
yeah.
My notes upstairs, I was, you know, but all of them. I mean, Rob was really good about the jailed chiropractor that they kept practicing, and they, you know, I kind of knew that, but you know, it was good to hear it again that they got the warden to come in and take. They were the CAs.
The ward was a CA. I was cracking up. I was
You know,
great.
so you know, hey, when you get lemons, you make lemonade. That's you know.
Yeah, he's running a thriving practice in jail.
I think a lot of people like that Rob said that because a lot of young students didn't know, you know, there was a girl who went to jail and, you know, that was, you know,
Lots of them.
yeah, lots of, so I didn't know that. I thought it was just, you know, men, but
No,
yeah, so it was good. I mean, everybody was good.
everybody's really good.
It was,
Literally.
you know, it was just, and then when Ron,
Ron Sinagra.
oh, with the, we're not here, it's a wave, it's a particle.
Yeah,
the
that was
quantum
that
mechanics.
was a lot of work.
Really good.
I gotta keep working on that.
You observe it, it's a particle. If you don't observe it, it's a wave. You know, the active observation. So that was really good.
That's quantum physics.
That's quantum physics. So, I mean, everybody was just so, I mean, I went home, I was like, wow, this is a great profession. Because I was a chiropractor. Glad my daughter went, you know, God, you know, pass the torch. Got to get more chiropractors, you know.
The next one's going to be huge, but it was standing room only. I mean, there were no seats. People were standing through the back. It was a full house. It really was. It was great because every group, every seminar, everything, attendance is down. People are lazy. They're sitting behind their underwear doing what we're doing right now, right?
Well, they
Being
should
in
put
the
it on
mix,
so they
being with
could do it.
chiropractors, there's nothing like it. Nothing
You
like
know,
it.
or it being together, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but this feels real to me too, because when I can't get to Florida, or where are you, Michigan? I can't, and you're in, where are you?
DC.
Oh, he's in DC, Washington.
I'm
Okay.
in DC. I'm in
Oh, okay, but I
Minnesota,
can't get to
DC.
4 places, you gotta come
Yeah,
to Point Pleasant.
I was very reserved at this one. I won't hold back at the next one. All right.
Oh, you weren't yelling and screaming, really? Yeah, you were very quiet, yes. Yeah,
I
you were
can't
very
imagine
good
that.
too. Yeah, I should say Haig was really good. He was very passionate.
No, you're
Yes,
kidding.
Can you believe it?
everybody, they already asked him back again, so that's big, because they don't do it. I used to be on the committee where we decide who would come, and you didn't get right away, they would let you suffer, and if you didn't come, if you weren't a speaker, then they marked you down. Yeah, it was like a attendance thing, oh, you're not a speaker, you're not coming. So that's a big honor that they want you back right away. Oh yeah.
I'm tremendously honored.
Yeah, because that's how they did it, because they don't want you just to come, you're speaking.
Well, you think about all the greats that have been on all the stage. Doesn't matter what the venue is. That's the stage follows, and it has the energy and presence of everyone that has come before us.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, absolutely. And that is such a blessing in every way.
Yeah.
You guys, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, see you next
I didn't
week.
see the cat today, but I would acknowledge the
She's
cat.
over here.
There we go.
There she is. She was outside till 5 minutes, so she kind of lost her spot here. She's tired.
Yeah, but she
I
doesn't
love
miss
and
her
appreciate
meat.
you
She
guys.
doesn't
You have a
miss the meat.
fantastic night.
All right, we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Oh, actually, because it's Memorial Day, Monday, so happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.